The torch has become synonymous with the Olympic Games. It is carried all over the host country by people nominated because they have inspired others. It ends at the opening ceremony, where it stays lit throughout the entire duration of the Games. In a way, the torch acts as a countdown as it gets closer and closer to the place where it all will begin. In the same way, UW kicks off its summer ministry annually in Oklahoma City. It's the opening ceremonies for the next 9 weeks of camps that will take place all over the country and all over the world. This year, we have decided to take a look at 5 individuals who have inspired others through their time with UW. Each will encourage, each will challenge, each will represent a countdown to when the torch makes it to Oklahoma and another summer ministry begins. Beyond the Gold 2012.
It was my freshman year of college. After my first semester, it was right after my first semester, and I just didn't like where I was in life. I didn't like the decisions I had been making and just where I was going. And I knew there was something else that God was calling me to do, and I was, to be honest, tired of Nebraska. And so I was like, I got to get out of Nebraska for the summer. And so I just started looking online one day, just Googling, random just sports ministry, doing different things. I applied like 5 different places to like go build houses in Florida, and just a number of different things. And it was funny because UW was the only one that contacted me back. I remember specifically Googling sports ministry, just because I love sports. I'd played it my whole life. I was finishing up my first semester of college basketball, and just loving sports and being around that. I always enjoyed that, and I want to get into coaching someday, and that was kind of a part of my thought process at the time. And so I think I was just drawn to sports, and God's placed that on my heart, and He's given me the ability and the talent to be able to play. And so I wanted to share that and use that to share the Lord with others. I'm pretty sure as soon as I got that phone call, I knew right then that I was going to be doing UW for the summer, and that God was going to bless me somehow through this ministry. Running camp from the sports part was a very easy transition for me. But then the Bible curriculum and incorporating all that and kind of keeping the ministry and God perspective on it was a lot different than what I was used to. But at the same time, it was very easy to transition to just because of the organization of UW and the people around and those leading. It was easy to kind of just jump into that.
In comparison to other interns, I think Spencer stood out from the very beginning, because from the moment that he walked in, there was just something about him, just the way that he was, kind of a guy that you think oh, I think he would be fun to get to know.
Yeah, so my first summer after training, I went out to South Carolina and Tennessee. I had a great team, had a great experience. It was just fun, and things went well. Camp ran smoothly. Things were organized. It was done how UW expects it to be done, running camp. Then I went to Haiti, and we always say international ministry is a little different, a little more crazy. And it was, but it was still very well organized. And we ran soccer camps, and we made the connections, and we shared the gospel, and ministry was ran in a very organized way. And after returning from Haiti, just getting out to start our 3rd session, being out there with one of my favorite teams of all time. And those of you that know me, you know that that was Janae, Farley, and Sienna, and how we just bonded. And camp again was going great. It was going smooth. It was organized.
Things were going good. Things were going right according to the regional notebook, right according to plan, which sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't happen, so we were fortunate. And then we got a call from Sam, and Sam said, Sienna, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to split your team up. And I was like, no, you're not going to split our team up. This is not going to happen. What's the situation? Walk me through it, and we'll figure out a way to solve the problem, but to keep our team together, because we're not splitting up. We sat in our minivan in a rather creepy parking lot where I'm pretty sure a drug deal was going on across the way. And we tried to come up with a strategy of how we could stay together as a team.
Maybe Sam could pull people from here or there. And it was just really the first time in my UW experience that I got challenged into, I'm doing God's work, I'm not doing my work, and God's plan is greater than mine. And I had to be flexible.
So that was a great chance for Spencer to start to see, hey, sometimes things don't always work out the way that we thought they would originally, but that God always has a plan in everything. So even though he didn't get to stay with Farley, which he would have loved to do, he got to work with some other people that he wouldn't have had the opportunity to. And I know that that was a great growth opportunity for him.
It was still, I was still a part of that strategy, and I was still part of that plan, and I had to be flexible with that. And, you know, it was for God. It wasn't for my comforts or the people that I enjoyed being around. And again, camp went great where I went. I went off to a different part of California, and that summer finished tremendous. I had a great time, and my first year was just a great experience and really drew me back to be with UW for a long time.
And that was his start of taking on leadership and taking on responsibility within UW and being ready for various situations that will arise as he's been an assistant coach and now as he's a head coach.
When I came back for my second year in 2010, first session went out, great time again, camps went smoothly, and I got a chance to go back for the second session, the international portion. I got to go back to Haiti. And I was thrilled to go back there, especially after the earthquake. And I had a great team, and we get there. We had a plan in place. Again, UW, we always have a plan in place, and they have a strategy. And I think this was my most challenging experience with ministry.
We were very excited and got there, and I was privileged to be the leader of that team, and was nervous and excited about that. And when we got to Haiti, we left the other teams that were also serving there, and we got in a vehicle with some Haitians, and we departed and went to where we were supposed to minister. And from that point on, God just had a different plan for what we were going to do, and we kind of walked into a kind of a logistical mess as far as things were, happening.
We get out, and first thing we realized, well, actually we realized this before we got there, was we forgot to get our money from Julia when she dropped us off there. We forgot they had a stack of cash for us that we were going to spend on food and transportation, and pretty soon we learned we had about $120 between all of us. And then we go in to stay at one of the mission bases there, and we go in, and the guy's like, I have no idea who you guys are, we've never heard of you. Somewhere along the lines, communication got crossed, and so we're sitting there looking at each other going, well, we're in a foreign country, we have very limited money, we know one person who we met 30 minutes ago, and he's our interpreter, and they don't have a place for us to stay.
I knew God definitely had given me a lot of peace, but part of that peace, I think, was just knowing that Spencer was on my team, and that no matter what was going on, I could count on him to be that person I went to for help.
I remember just sitting there that night with all my team members. It was me and 5 ladies, and we were praying, and I just remember us going, I have no idea why we're here. I have no idea what we're going to do. And so those next 2 days were just crazy. We showed up, and we had a little meeting with some of the area missionaries, and again, they hadn't really heard of us, but we were there, and so they embraced us, and we went to a couple different schools, some schools that had never heard of us or even knew we were going to be in the area. We asked if we could do sports camp, and they were absolutely thrilled.
He definitely helped me do a lot of problem solving. He was kind of my right-hand person when the trip started to kind of go that direction.
Because when you don't have money, and when you don't have a place to stay, and when you don't know people where you're at, it's really scary. And it's kind of panic mode there, but God allows His grace to come over you, and He kind of really just gave me a peace on that trip of saying, I'm not in control, God's in control, and God has His plans. And I think He really showed me and my teammates that as we were there, just kind of, hey, I've got you, I've got plans here, you guys don't know what it is, and that's fine that you don't understand it, but to just have that comfort in the middle of that chaos to know, I'm doing something for God here, and I'll find out someday what that was.
I knew that he was ready and willing to do whatever he needed to do in Haiti to minister to those kids, and he did. He was definitely a strong person to have on the team, and I think it could have gone very differently if he hadn't been with us.
And then in 2011, kind of a reoccurring theme with me in UW is just that being flexible and adjusting to God's plan.
Well, coming out of the first week of second session, we were down our head coach and assistant coach, and so we were going to Montrose, and we got down, and another teammate and I picked up Spencer, who was going to kind of take the leadership role. The team consisted of 3 people, and we all had to kind of come together and really work out how we were going to plan this next week of camps with only 3 people.
In Montrose, they do like 6 different churches that come together, and they all run camp together. And so I'm sitting here with 6 different church leaders talking about sports camp, which they've done for 10 plus years. So they have an idea of what they want to do. They have a strategy in place, and they're kind of filling me in, and I don't know if they're real comfortable with me knowing that I'm the assistant coach and kind of got thrown into this role.
The church leaders had originally thought that they were going to have 2 extra sports that we weren't aware of that we needed coaches for, and so that brought a lot of extra kind of chaos to it because we were trying to figure out how to work this all out.
You know, it was just a lot thrown at me. But again, it's God, you know, challenging you, telling you, hey, I've got a plan here. May not be what you originally planned, you know, but God challenged me and God grew me in a leadership role there where I think He really, you know, placed on my heart, you know, hey, I'm going to give you the tools to run this camp and run it effectively. And I'm going to put people around you that are going to help you do that.
Spencer, as the team leader, kind of just sat down and step by step kind of worked through what we needed to do and the extra help that we were going to need with being short of 2 of our other teammates.
And we ran 2 great camps that week, and I think God just really blessed me with some wisdom, with some patience, and with just a community of people around me that helped me to provide to that church and to that community a solid sports camp. My challenge for us this year as a UW staff and interns and just everybody as a UW community is to really find God and find God's plan, because UW is great at strategizing. We run camp well. We have a great plan set in place to do ministry and do ministry effectively. But knowing that plan and knowing what UW stands for, I also know that what we set out to do as a ministry doesn't always go according to X, Y, Z. Really each week to challenge yourself to reflect on, God, what are you going to do with me this week? God, what's your plan for this church? Because each church is different, each child is different. And if we really seek out and find God in every single moment and take that time to reflect on His plans and His plans to prosper us, yeah, we're going to be uncomfortable. We're going to face challenges. We're going to have to do things that we didn't think we would have to do this summer. We're going to be stretched and we're going to be challenged. But in the end, God's going to bless us and He's going to pull us closer, and we're going to have that opportunity to be in the presence of God and to be in a community of people that love God. And I think that's the greatest feeling in the world, and I think that's ultimately our greatest purpose. I just really challenge you to know that when we first embrace Him and when we first start figuring out God's plan, it's going to be confusing. It's not going to make sense. You're going to say, God, why am I the head coach this week? God, why am I doing this week? Whatever it may be, you're going to sit there and question it, and you're just going to be like, God, this doesn't make any sense. But knowing that our God is bigger than us and He's greater than us, and that He's got a plan for us, we can embrace that and know as well that it may not make sense, but He's right there by our side. He's with us through everything that we do this summer, and that's the comfort you need. And if you can turn to God every time and know that He's right there next to you, you can face any challenge and any obstacle that God throws at you, or anything that may change in your strategy along the way. Last stop, Nebraska. I'll see you guys in Oklahoma City.